Hey there, I'm Decky. So I'm a part of the Gain Trust online fitness community, and this is just a short video to describe what my main struggle has been when it comes to trying to go to the gym. The main issue that I've always had is maintaining the habit. I think that is a common issue for a lot of people. So whether it's waking up and going straight to the gym, or finishing work and going straight to the gym, and being able to maintain that for about 4 to 5 days a week, trying to develop that habit has been the most difficult aspect to maintaining this sort of fitness lifestyle. So I'm proud to say that over the past 6 or so months, I've managed to make that into a habit where I'll go around 4 to 5 days a week. And if I do miss out on a day, I'll feel bad about it. So it really has come to a point where this is a habit. It's not a question of whether I should or not for me. And yeah, I don't think I could have achieved that without the Gain Trust program.
Day 33 is done. Walking off the floor, first day of running a Gain Trust. Absolutely amazing, Michael. Thank you. So this has been a good experience to start. I know it's only day one, but having a path to follow rather than just coming into the gym and creating your own workout system is, I think, going to be really beneficial. So.
Hey there, I'm Decky. So I'm a part of the Gain Trust online fitness community, and this is just a short video to describe what my main struggle has been when it comes to trying to go to the gym. The main issue that I've always had is maintaining the habit. I think that is a common issue for a lot of people. So whether it's waking up and going straight to the gym, or finishing work and going straight to the gym, and being able to maintain that for about 4 to 5 days a week, trying to develop that habit has been the most difficult aspect to maintaining this sort of fitness lifestyle. So I'm proud to say that over the past 6 or so months, I've managed to make that into a habit where I'll go around 4 to 5 days a week. And if I do miss out on a day, I'll feel bad about it. So it really has come to a point where this is a habit. It's not a question of whether I should or not for me. And yeah, I don't think I could have achieved that without the Gain Trust program.
walking off the floor, first day of running a Gain Trust. Absolutely amazing, Michael. Thank you. So this has been a good experience to start. I know it's only day one, but having a path to follow rather than just coming into the gym and creating your own workout system is, I think, going to be really beneficial. So.
Hey there, I'm Decky. So I'm a part of the Gain Trust online fitness community, and this is just a short video to describe what my main struggle has been when it comes to trying to go to the gym. The main issue that I've always had is maintaining the habit. I think that is a common issue for a lot of people. So whether it's waking up and going straight to the gym, or finishing work and going straight to the gym, and being able to maintain that for about 4 to 5 days a week, trying to develop that habit has been the most difficult aspect to maintaining this sort of fitness lifestyle. So I'm proud to say that over the past 6 or so months, I've managed to make that into a habit where I'll go around 4 to 5 days a week. And if I do miss out on a day, I'll feel bad about it. So it really has come to a point where this is a habit. It's not a question of whether I should or not for me. And yeah, I don't think I could have achieved that without the Gain Trust program.
Says device not connected.
Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. Okay, cool. All right. Happy Halloween, everybody. I didn't prepare anything for Halloween special. I have my red light here in the background. It's going to be, I'm going to try to make things a little spooky somehow. I don't know how exactly. But we're going to go over today tips on improving your diet. I feel like typically when we talk about diet, a lot of times one of the biggest problems that I think people struggle with is the fact that there's too many things to sort of take into consideration. Every time, you want advice on cutting weight or on gaining muscle, you gotta do this, and this. And one of the big problems with that is that you throw too much at something, and too often you get overwhelmed and you fall back onto bad habits again. And I think the best way to resolve this typically is to have a step-by-step approach that I think can sort of, one step can build off the next step, which can sort of create habits with across time, and this sort of thing creates more longevity. So again, just to reiterate the point, people who give advice on dieting, you'll get information on macros, you'll get information on energy balance, and you'll get all the right foods that you need to eat, all the foods that you should avoid, how much cardio you should do, how many days at the gym, and it's just a lot, And one of the biggest things that makes people fall off their diets, especially not just diets, but even like your fitness routine, but any type of good habit, I think one of the biggest issues is that you typically have too much thrown at you at once. And so today's talk, we're going to break down into steps, how to approach improving your diet. So I guess we could just dive into it. First of all, happy Halloween. This is one of my favorite holidays of the year. I really like Christmas, obviously. Everybody loves Christmas, I think. But Halloween, I really like the whole lead up to Halloween. Anybody who knows me knows I'm big into Halloween, and this year was pretty sweet. Before we jump into the actual topic, I just wanted to riff on Halloween a bit. Leading up to Halloween for like a whole month is just to me, all of October is Halloween. Like September is like Halloween Eve. And then the day of Halloween just kind of sucks because you got to give out just candy. And if you're a parent, you got to go out and you got to do all that stuff. And I don't think that sounds very fun. But this year, I went up to New Hampshire and I did this maze, and it was really fun. And I had a great Halloween. And just to wrap up Halloween, we're gonna eat candy and talk about fitness, and talk about improving your diets, because if anything goes hand in hand, it's candy and improving your diets. And Kit Kats are supreme. They reign supreme as the greatest candy for Halloween, and there are no substitutes for that. All right, so let's jump in. So improving your diet, like I alluded to in the intro, really it's about one change at a time. And this actually goes across like all habit forming things. Anytime you want to make any sort of change in your life, if you want to learn how to do something, you really should have a systematic approach where you're taking steps. You're taking one step at a time. You're mastering that one thing, then you move on to the next thing. This is a good approach to sort of build off of a nice foundation. If you go from 0 to 100, the rarest of rare people can make that work, and it's usually a miracle that they made it work, or they're just freaks of nature that they could do something like that. Typically, good habits are built off of good foundations, and we're going to get into that step by step. So it's be a 4-step thing, and basically what we want to avoid, as I've said many times, is too many changes at once is an overwhelming experience for people, and this inevitably leads to most people to a reversal in habits. So let's start with our step 1. Okay. Step 1 is really just a very intuitive step, okay? It is really just the acknowledgement that I am eating healthier now, and I'm going to be paying attention to what's in my diet, okay? Now remember, with each of these steps, you have to master each step at a time. So it means until you've mastered this first step, you are not moving beyond to the step 2 or step 3 or step 4. So just with that in mind, let's dig into this. So you're going to keep your focus purely on food consumption of the foods you're currently eating. So let's say your diet is whatever it is. You've decided to improve your diet, so it can't be good. Your first step is going to be to focus in on what you're currently eating, and you're going to start making healthier choices. So what that means is, for this step, we're not we'll get into it, but we're not doing anything other than assessing what we're currently doing and seeing where we could make better choices. So the idea here is to be more aware or conscious of your current diet and start to question whether or not you can improve it. So you're going to look into these options to generally improve your diet. These options are going to be lean proteins, fruits and veggies, whole grains, and healthier fat sources. Okay, if you don't know what those things are, I mean, Google is your friend. But lean sources of protein are meats, chicken, fish, lean cuts of beef, egg whites, eggs, period. Across the board. I mean, it's pretty. I think we're all adults here. We know basically what lean protein sources look like. Fruits and veggies. We know what they are. We know what good fruits and veggies are. Whole grains, healthier fats. The idea here is just to be more conscious, to be more aware of what we're currently eating and start shifting things up. So if all your meals are bad, you're going to try to replace one meal per day with a healthier food source. And then as the weeks go on, after a week or two, you're going to try to change another meal per day. So if you're eating 4 or 5 meals a day and they're all crap, and then you decide to take on this first step, you may want to just change one of those meals a day to something healthy. Maybe it's a chicken breast with some broccoli or some rice. 1 meal a day. Do it for a week. And then see if you could expand on that. And it's actually easier than you'd think, because if you cook a big chicken breast and you cook rice, I mean, you're not cooking just enough for 1 meal. You could get that for 2 meals. You could do that, 2 meals a day and pretty easily because you have leftovers. Healthier foods are more filling. They have high satiety. I can't get that word right. Hey, I'm not gonna get it right, but they're filling foods, especially proteins. So you're less likely to binge on other foods while you're sort of taking on this task of replacing some of these more unhealthy meals with these healthier choices. Okay. So having said that, that's step 1. All right. Now, just to go back real quick, step 1, to review, we're not moving past this until we've mastered this. Okay. That means that all of our meals should be, at this point, by the time we've mastered this, all of our meals should basically be healthier choices compared to what they previously were. And that means, again, lean proteins, fruits, veggies, whole grains, healthier fats. Okay? So that's step 1. Now, this step can take months, which is fine. This is a big step, but it is also the most intuitive step. The reason why this is step 1 and not step alpha through omega is because we're not getting into the nitty-gritty of dieting. We're not getting into counting calories, counting macros. All we're doing is taking what we're doing currently and we are making better choices in the heat of the moment, really. And another thing that should be noted here is that, you're going to be snacking throughout the day. It's not just that everybody, I eat too much during my 3 meals a day, during my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's like, no, we know where, the unhealthy eating comes. We snack, right? And the snacking, when we're snacking, during step 1, it's okay to snack. You want to snack basically where it's appropriate. If you have some friends over, you're watching the game and you're snacking, okay, you're going to snack. Don't kill yourself. That's part of step 1. It's a big step, but it's very it's very loose, but also very specific. All right, step 2. So by this point, you should have step 1 down completely. That means all your meals should consist of healthier foods. Now, this may take a month or 2 to reach this point, depending on the person. But step 2 is now paying attention to your macros. So macros, if you don't know, they're short for macronutrients, which consist of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Okay. And what we mean by paying attention to your macros is we want to get into the habit of building every meal and snack around a protein source. Okay. Previously, with step 1, if you decided if you decided to eat healthier for a meal or so, you might have replaced, a highly fatty food with something like, broccoli or something, or asparagus or something. I'm sure most of us would choose a protein source as well, but let's say you didn't. This step number 2 is is about paying attention to macros specifically, and centering each meal around a protein source, a lean protein source. Okay, and so lean meats and lean dairy products should be the basis of every meal during step 2. Once you have a protein, you could add your vegetables, some fruits, you could add whole grains, but you want to add sort of whole grains around the time of your of physical activity. So if you're going to the gym, you want to get your more of your whole grains and your carb heavy meals around that time period. Again, this is like step 1. It's kind of a more loose step in sort of getting into a better habit. We're not being extremely strict. We're just sort of declaring that each meal will be centered around a lean protein source. And at the bare minimum, you're going to center your meals around meats, veggies, and fruits. And at this point of the stage, you can eat to your heart's content. The idea here is that eating to your heart's content with a balanced group of meals like this, meaning, again, proteins, veggies, fruits, and healthy whole grains and healthy fats. Eating to your heart's content, if you do this right, it won't be enough to make you massively overweight or to get in tons of calories. If you're doing this step 2 right, you should be doing pretty well in terms of health food. I mean, you're not going to be hungry enough to go overboard. Protein is a high satiety. I think that's how I'm supposed to say it, but it's filling, and these healthier food choices are filling, and that's what makes step 2 so sort of useful. You could eat to your heart's content by step 2. Step 3 is where we get into portion control. Okay, by this stage, you're regularly eating most healthy foods, and you're eating well-balanced meals of lean proteins, veggies, fruits, grains, and healthy fats. Okay, by now, you've eaten to your heart's content as long as it was healthy. By now, you should have a feel for how much food per meal it takes to stave off hunger in a low energy state. This is what I was saying, just a second ago, that this, step 2 and mastering step 2, you will have an understanding by the time you've done it enough. By the time you've done enough to move on to step 3, rather, which is that at this stage you will have a sense of things that will actually guide you towards sort of understanding your body, understanding foods and how you react to foods and how much is enough, how much will get you full. Okay, by now you should be aware of when you become hungry and how your schedule affects your ability to eat meals. So during step 2, when we're eating to our heart's content, but we're making each meal be centered around a lean protein source. By this point, if you're dedicating to that, you will have done this enough times to know that, well, my schedule can only permit me to get these meals in this time, and here are the times where I'm not getting my meals in, work, whatever. So step 2 will have sort of ingrained in you sort of where your schedule actually affects your ability to eat meals. With all this in mind, you can make a general meal schedule, which is where we get sort of to the crux of step 3. A general meal schedule gives you a set time for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for around the same time each day. Because you're now really familiar with your schedule. You're familiar with how much you could eat per day. You're familiar with how much will get you how much will get you full each day, or how much food will stave off a low energy state. So getting into the habit of following this loose schedule is what step 3 is all about, and will make the final most crucial step possible. So what was step 3 about? It's about scheduling. It's about portion control. It's about getting into the habit of having a daily routine. Okay? That's what step 3 is all about. It's about having a daily routine that you can count on. Now, this stuff is not easy. By the time you've reached step 3, you should be pretty disciplined in as in regards to step 1 and step 2, which is good. You're ready for step 3. But this stuff is advanced because sticking to a schedule, as anybody will know, no matter what it is tough. And so to decide on a schedule, stick to a schedule, you have to build up to this. So this is not so simple. So when you're listening to me talk about this, and you're saying, I'm ready for step 3, it's like, go through steps 1 and 2 first, really give it a shot, see if you have that down, and then see if you're ready for step 3. Okay? So again, step 3, it's about portion control. It's about scheduling your meals so you can depend on your schedule every day. So let's review before we move on to step 4. By the end of step 3, you should be very used to eating lots of lean proteins, veggies, fruits, grains, healthy fats in most of your daily meals. Be used to eating these meals at certain times every day, roughly, within reason. Be okay having junk food here and there, but leave that for special occasions and get-togethers. Make sure you're well hydrated. As an addition, make sure you're well hydrated. You could consider taking supplements like whey protein and vitamins. And then we move on to step 4. And the step 4 is about making adjustments. This is where we go in with that surgical knife. And because a lot of times if you look for, guidance on your diet, a lot of times people will say, well, here's your macros. Okay, now adjust your macros week to week. I did this too. I've actually instructed people to do this, but there's a flaw in that. And the flaw is that steps 1 through 3 have not been mastered yet. So step 4 is really where I'm telling you, okay, go in with a surgical knife and adjust your diets. And people are like, oh sure, I'll just do it. It never really works out. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. So that's what this is all about. Now we can focus on cutting calories in order to intentionally lose weight. Okay, before this, steps 1 through 3, we were just adjusting first of all, we're adjusting mentality. We're adjusting we're becoming more aware of our daily meals and what's in them. We are making conscious choices to improve those meals. And that might be good enough. That might be good enough for 90% of people. You might see pounds come off, or you might see get yourself getting in good shape with just through steps 1 through 3. And that's great. If that's you, that's great. Step 4 is for people who want to take things even more seriously. And it's basically, we're going to now consciously cut calories. We're going to consciously go in and adjust, the calories that we take in during the day with all things considered. So if you're within 10, and so here's a couple of rules for you. So if you're within 10% of your intended healthy weight, okay, so this is the person who's not seriously overweight. They're kind of close to where they'd like to be. So you're within 10 pounds of your intended healthy weight. Sorry, 10 pounds. 10% of your intended healthy weight. You should cut your daily average calories by 10% or decrease activity by that many daily calories or a combination. Now, here's my suggestion is, if you're focused on diet and you're taking things step by step, you're putting a lot into this, I'd recommend doing the decreasing of calories first. And the reason I say that is because while you can get a great benefit from adding in cardio, which you should, but the point is, it's good to do one thing at a time and see what comes of it, so that when let's say you get something very good out of just cutting the calories, and it's working for you, it won't always be going great for you for forever. I mean, these types of things taper off with time, and we'll get into that in a minute. But that's a time where adding cardio in can sort of, be this X factor. But I just think that doing one thing at a time and sort of seeing what each thing gets you is just better for you. It's better for you sort of I think mentally it's not probably the best way of putting it, but it's just better systematically thinking about this stuff to do it that way. And I think being systematic is important. And so that's basically as far as that goes. I think being systematic is important. So priority goes to cutting the calories by 10% first. And if you need to down the line, you could add in some cardio and then mix in both. Nothing wrong with that. I just believe in being systematic. So depending on how much you weigh, you should be able to cut 2/3 of a pound per week each this way. All right. So using this decreasing calories by 10%, and what this means is decreasing calories by 10%. We have in Discord in Gain Trust, we have a way for you to calculate sort of your energy, your total daily energy expenditure. If you can find ways of calculating this outside of Gain Trust, but if you're inside of Gain Trust, we have that set up for you. It takes into consideration your sex, your age, your height, your weight, and your activity level, and it will calculate for you your estimated total daily energy expenditure. It's not exact. Nothing is really exact with this type of stuff, but it's really good. So in that case, you can take those numbers there and you could decrease by 10%. And this point of step 4 is we're getting surgical. So it's going to take you actually writing things out and figuring it out, and then roughly following that. Now, do you have to do all that writing and stuff? You probably should. By this point, though, like I said, this is a process. This process has taken a while. Step 1 through step 3 should have taken you maybe months. And by now, the idea of cutting 10% of what you consume each day in terms of calories, you might be able to sort of, to eyeball that, or to do it by feel. I still think you should write it out, figure it out for yourself. I think it's a good practice. You won't always have to do that. You do it a few times and you sort of get the idea. But you can, by this point, the point is that you'll be experienced enough and disciplined enough and have a feel for things enough that 10% you could kind of figure out maybe roughly. And by stage 4, needless to say, since we're now getting serious about losing weight, this is where you cut out your junk food entirely. Continuing, if you've got a lot of weight to lose, unlike in the previous example, you can do the previous example, but you're going to need to introduce something called maintenance phases to avoid your body's settling point. Now, your settling point is basically where our bodies are sort of used to a certain weight that it'll want to sort of come back to if we have quick jumps or changes in weight, positive or negative. And the way that you can get to a new settling state is you have to hover around that settling state for a few months. And this presents a problem because the more weight you lose, or the more weight you gain, rather, both, the more weight you lose over time, the sooner you'll be fighting harder and harder against your own body to lose weight. This gets tougher and tougher to lose weight, and that will require you to sort of establish a new settling weight, which means you might need to do a little bit of a maintenance for a while, which is not the worst thing ever, but it just means that you're going to have to do a stepwise approach to losing weight. So after roughly 10% body weight loss, so for example, a 300 pound person losing 30 pounds, your goal is to maintain those losses for a distinct amount of time while your body adapts to its new settling point. So we're going to keep each weight loss phase to no longer than 3 months at a time. Maintenance for about as long as your last weight loss phase was for. So however long the weight loss phase is, so let's say it's three months, you're going to want to do a maintenance phase for another 3 months, and to establish a new settling point. 10% weight loss is a solid goal per weight loss session. You don't really want to go over, or else you'll increase the risk of rebounding. Want to aim for around 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight per week in weight loss. So that's step 4. Those are the 4 steps that I've laid out for you. And some additional tips, improving your diet, more protein. Protein's a high satiety, I think that's how you say it, food source. Consuming more protein will make you less hungry throughout the day. More fruits and veggies, the high fiber and water nature of these foods make them volume. Why can't I'm pretty good with words. Makes them high in volume and low calories. So basically, you could think of that as sort of just like it's more filling. You know, it's higher volume, but like the density of calories is not there. So you could almost think of like how a rice cracker. If you eat like a tube of rice crackers, it's like, you know, it's voluminous, you know. but it's actually not that much. A lot of air in there and fibrous, I guess. I don't know if rice crackers are fibrous, but anyway. Keeping saturated fats and sugars pretty low. Keeping away from processed foods, you know what they are. That's that tip. Do not eat out of boredom. You may be surprised how often we do this. Sometimes we aren't as hungry as we are bored and start to snack needlessly. And I will end this portion of weight loss, my 4 steps, which I actually will go over really quickly, go through them one at a time. Step 1, become aware of what you're eating daily. Start making healthier choices by replacing poor food choices with good food choices. We know what good food choices are: lean meats, veggies, fruits, whole grains, and healthy fats. Step 2, we are now getting into the centering each meal around lean protein and building off of that. Step 4, portion control. This is where we develop a schedule that we can stick to each week, every day. And step 4 is where we get into actually starting to cut the calories every day and following the rules of the settling phases and all that. And I want you to know that these slides will be, as well as this talk, will be inside Gain Trust. If you ever want to go back and reference this stuff or follow it, this stuff will be in Gain Trust. But with that, I want to move on to I want to really quickly go through some hot takes, some funny hot takes, and then we will go to check-ins and question and answer. So actually, I will do question and answer now, and then we'll do hot takes after, I think, because we went over a lot. I don't want anybody to forget anything. So with that, we'll say goodbye to YouTube, and we'll say goodbye to, I think, Rumble as well. I'm not sure if Rumble got set up correctly this time, but yeah, we'll say goodbye. And if you want to join the Gain Trust server, become a member, and you could participate in the live conversation and actually have a Q&A. Feel free to join the server. Links are in the description, I believe. If not, it's not too difficult to find where they are on YouTube. But with that, take care, YouTube, and everywhere else.